Live from New York, it's Ask This Engineer.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. It's time to do the show. It is time for another Ask an Engineer non-stop, 6 years and running.
Yeah.
Pure, solid Ask an Engineering.
Yeah.
With me, Lady Ada, I'm the engineer.
They've tried to slow you down. They've tried to stop you, but that's not going to happen.
No.
This holiday cheer can't stop.
No. We got an exciting show for you tonight. I got a lot of new products. I got my hair done. You can tell they're nice. I got Mr. Lady Ada here on camera control.
I got my hair done too, but no one ever notices.
No, it's true, you did, but it just looks exactly the same.
It's identical.
But one day you're gonna dye your hair.
Yeah.
And all sorts of stuff going on. We got colorful LEDs.
Yeah.
We've got It's Not Out Yet, Don't Ask. We got a photo of a cat.
Yeah.
Let's kick off tonight's show.
All right, on tonight's show, the code is featherwing. You'll find out why and more. But that's the code, 10% off all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. This is like one of the last sales of the year. If you haven't used the code yet, you should. Show and Tell, Lady Ada will talk about the many people who show and share their products from around the world every single week. Back to the Mailbag, going to stop by, share a letter sent to us that we'll read to you. Adafruit Jobs Board, best place online to post your skills and for companies to find cool makers. Time Travel, look back in the world of hackers, makers, artists, engineers, pioneers, people who have broke through ceilings and more. Wearable electronics, 3D printing, Raspberry Pi news, new products. We're going to answer your questions. This week we have a special top secret. It's not out yet.
Shh. Shh.
We'll have a trivia question. All that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer.
Yay.
Yeah, we're doing this stuff. Okay, so let's pay some bills first because we should probably remind folks that we are supported by only you, the customer.
But what about our investors and venture capitalists
There
and
are none.
bankers?
There are none.
Oh, that is right. There are none.
Feds just raised the interest rate too, so there will be some interesting things that change a little bit down the road every time.
Like 0.25, like what?
Yeah, I think it's finally up there. Yeah. So it'll be interesting.
It was 5. That was awesome.
Well, this is the interest rates for like banks to loan other
like
banks.
the library.
Yeah.
Okay.
Banks to banks type thing. But anyways, we're only supported by all of y'all. So when you buy a kit or electronic component or something like that, that's what keeps all these shows going.
Most telethons, you just get like a book bag or like a mug.
Yeah.
You have plenty of mugs.
So
why don't you get some NeoPixels instead,
Yeah.
some feathers or an Arduino or a Raspberry Pi?
So use the code featherwing and that's 10% off. We still have some stuff going on. We have different tiers. When you add stuff in your cart, we have the Perma Proto, we have the
$100.
Trinket,
$150,
Trinket Pro,
$250.
and then we have free UPS ground,
200.
continental US. So that's going on right now. If you're in New York City and you need something really fast, we have same-day delivery. That's really heating up right now because it's getting close to the holiday, so a lot of people are doing same day. So that's been working out. We're going to continue doing it in case people are wondering for 2016.
We also do offer, it's free if they order over a certain amount, right?
Yeah. And then we also have some shipping deadlines. So basically, it's pretty much at the very, very, very end. Here's the deal. So today is
The 18th.
Yeah, today's the 16th.
Today's 16th.
So today's 16th. So if you want to have something arrive in time for Christmas Eve, December 17th is the cutoff. So basically tomorrow. Second day, December 18th, and then overnight, the last could be Monday, December 21st.
So please, please, please use today.
Yeah.
Remember also UPS. You know, they call it 2-day and 3-day because there's like a guaranteed delivery. If you look on the UPS site, they say during the holiday period, which starts like this week and next week, those are no longer guaranteed. Like
Yeah.
there's not a guarantee because absolutely everybody is shipping packages right now. The weather can be snowy, like there was a snow and airports shut down in the Midwest.
Yeah, that happened.
You cannot, just because you order it the night before Christmas doesn't mean you're going to get it the same morning. The next morning, give yourself a day or two buffer in case there's a delay, in case there's weather issues, in case something happens to your package. We can replace it for you. But if you wait to the last moment, that becomes very, very difficult. Also, maybe you ordered the wrong thing by accident. You forgot to add something to your cart. We can fix things and help you if you don't wait till the day before.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, and just so you know, if like, well, it's not going to be the people who watch the show here because I think they're cool with us and they understand logistic and things happen. But you know, every year I am on the phone with someone. Their holiday's been ruined. It's usually because they wait to the last second, and then there's some type of weather on planet Earth. because Planet Earth is at war with us, because we've been at war with Planet Earth for a while, it seems. And so eventually bad weather happens and their stuff doesn't arrive. So,
and I've had people, I forgot to add to the cart, or like, I selected my old address instead of my new address, and so it got sent to my old place, and and all these things. It's very hard to fix them on December 23rd. A lot easier to fix them on the December 18th or 19th. We have a little bit of time.
Yeah, so if you're thinking about something, do it now. Okay, next up. Just programming note, this is Ask an Engineer every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and Show and Tell is every Wednesday 7:30 Eastern Time. If you haven't already, we have a new show that we started. It's called From the Desk of Lady Ada. We do these a little bit randomly, but we do them often.
I like how the clock says 9 p.m. because that's approximately when we tend to do
Yeah,
stuff.
Usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and then weekends we do.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
We do From the Desk of Lady Ada. It's a new
Wednesday
show.
We're here. We can't do another broadcast.
It's experimental. We're doing all sorts of stuff. It's kind of the prototype for some ideas that we have with some other shows.
We might change the format, but it's not. Yeah. It's also not scripted. We don't even have. Like usually about 5 minutes before.
It's off the cuff.
It's off the cuff. Yeah. Phil asks me about 5 minutes beforehand, what are you working on so you can show it off? And I'm like, well, I'm going to lay out this EagleCAD, or I'm going to like prototype a circuit, or I'm going to solder something, or I'm going to take something apart. And it's like, 30 to 45 minutes of like me actually like fighting with, the ARM GCC compiler, or routing a board, or
you kind of never know what's going to happen.
Figuring out why my circuit's not working. I mean, like it can be anything.
So that's going on right now. We do that each week. We're going to be doing it this weekend. Probably tomorrow night we'll have a broadcast. So just stay on the tweets and look for it. We usually announce on Twitter. So adafruit.com/shows. It has a list of all our shows, but also twitter.com/adafruit. Okay, Show and Tell. We do this every single week. We've been doing this for 4 years. People around the world show and share their projects. What was this week?
Okay, I'm going to talk about this week. We had quite a few people, including some new people. Start off with our favorite Adafruit Northwest person, Tony Nicola from Adafruit Northwest, who's been working on an FBCP, a frame buffer copy utility for the LED matrices that we have. Those LED grid matrices that make up LED walls. We want to see if we could tile a bunch of them together and use our Raspberry Pi hat to drive them so it level shifts and everything. And then we use a program called like RPi Matrix, which is a C-level library that does the bit twiddling. Kind of like a port of the like Arduino code that we wrote like years ago. I mean, you remember the night I got that LED matrix working?
Yeah, it was cool.
Back at 80 NASA. And I was like, hey, this is cool. That's when we still lived in the factory. Or the factory is where we lived, which either way.
Yeah.
And so it's been a long time. And he got it working so it copies the HDMI frame buffer. So whatever on your HDMI display would get echoed onto this. So you can run HDMI and OpenGL accelerated stuff, and it mirrors it onto the LED matrix. So he played Mega Man 2, and he said Mega Man 2 is the best game ever. Noah and Pedro showed up from Adafruit Southeast. I don't know what their best game ever is, but they think Mega Man 2 is up there. They're working on another Daft Punk helmet. This time is the kind with the strip this way, not the full face LED thing. And they are working on sanding it and finishing it so it doesn't look 3D printed. They are apparently getting that going pretty well. And then they made a cool 3D printed GoPro mount for a hoverboard, like those little like self-balancing scooters that people seem to have. They always are blue with blue LEDs.
Yeah.
So they got that tutorial video and they showed it off a little bit. And they said it works actually pretty cool. Like you basically get very stabilized, low video, and you can ride around. So it's kind of neat. So you'll see people print it up. It's a good beginner 3D printing project. Seth is making an EagleCAD board that uses an ATtiny85 and an ESP8266 to make a little Wi-Fi connected board. We'll see how that goes. He's going to lay it out, maybe come by next week and show us the layout. Riley made very cute 3D printed mini drawers for holding his Allen wrenches.
That's cool.
As everyone knows, once you have Allen wrenches, first off, they come with a little thingy, which you always lose, a little holder. So he just made a little drawer that fits all of them in it, because all you do is lose Allen wrenches.
Allen was really good at wrenches, not so good about wrench storage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Tell
me about it. It's a nice little project, and he has a video about it, and it's also on Thingiverse. Carlos got a Inventables 3D CNC, and he's had it for about a month, and he showed us some projects he made. First, he made a breadboard holder with made out of wood, and it holds all his circuits, and so it's kind of like a little mini like, it looks like a little analog synth, but like for plugging in, it's like a little patch bay kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then he also made a stormtrooper helmet, probably in honor of Star Wars opening that's coming out. And he's gonna probably sand it, maybe make it into a box so you can like open it and hide things in it. Maybe your other stormtroopers, I don't know. Roberto had 3 projects. Well, first one is he entered an ornaments contest, and he used OpenSCAD to design some gimbal-y ornaments. One is like an XY gimbal ornament, and then he made a throwy one that had a coin cell and LED, so it lit up and spun. And then a bunch of other ones, he used OpenSCAD to make different designs, so you can have like he made one with like a moon, and one with like clover, and one with a Star of David, and one with a cross, so all sorts of fun stuff. He also, his son is in 1st grade, so he went to his 1st grade class, and he showed them how to make throwies, and he took some great photos of kids enjoying their throwies. They really loved them. And then he's also working on a project using Java effects for haptic motor control, so that'll be a cool project. Maybe stuff next week. And then Kirby had a wedding ring that he designed in Fusion 360. It's an AutoCAD program, Autodesk CAD program. And he prototyped it on a Lulzbot to test the fit and the look. And they sent it to Shapeways to get it made out of metal. And then he also has an enclosure he's 3D printing with an OLED and a feather, and has some sensors in it. And he's going to show that off his battery, and it looks like a little portable sensor charger. And then C. Scott came by. He's finished his Chrominus Euro. He played it for us. And he's also building a security system to help defend his mailbox. Okay. Apparently his mailbox has been smushed.
C. Scott mentioned something that I think is true. Is like, this is a need that you'll eventually see a Kickstarter where like someone like, oh, here's a smart mailbox. It does all sorts of things, from tell you that there's mail in there to like taking a snapshot if the mailbox gets bashed or something. Perhaps launch a drone.
And attack them.
no attack. Just maybe take a photo or something like that. Yeah.
like it opens up, that drone comes.
Just ideas.
What if they smash the drone? Maybe that's a new game. Then they smash the mailbox, get the drone to come out, and then they skeet shoot it.
I could see this going pretty far. But anyways, it's neat because it's like a smart mailbox. That's a cool thing to work on because like it's so custom. Okay.
Anyways, check out the video on YouTube because these are great projects, and I love seeing them. And if you would like to show off a project, maybe. Mithy, can you tell them how they can show up?
Yeah, so
next week?
If you want to be on the show and tell, all you need to do is go to google.com/plus Adafruit, look for the show and tell event. It's a hangout every single week. Post a comment so we know that you're there so we can do an invite, and then look for the link in the show and tell post that we post right at 7:30. We have so many people in the show and tell circle that we can't invite all 600 of them, so we put up a link. Sometimes Google changes how they allowed invites, and so no matter what, we do an invite, and usually it works out. So far, it has for the last 4 years. It's been a ride. Okay.
Well, we get new people every week, so it's working.
Yeah. All right. Next up, packet mailbag. These are the letters that we read in our weekly all-company meeting called State of the Fruit, and this is the one that we're reading this week, and we're reading it to you now. This is from Gavin. I just wanted to say that I was delighted with the service I received from Adafruit. I am a Bitcoin user and found using Bitcoins on your site really simple and effective. I'm also very pleased with the quoted delivery time. I am in the UK and only ordered products by a couple of days, and they are here due to arrive today. Thanks very much for creating such a great website. I love watching your Learn videos. They've inspired me to create lots of things for my children to enjoy. Awesome, Gavin.
Aww.
Thank you, Gavin.
Thanks, Gavin.
All right, moving right along because we got a lot of stuff this week.
I know.
This is adafruit.com/jobs. It is, I think, I'm calling it the best place online for makers to post your skills, and it's becoming the best place online for big companies to get the best makers.
We're starting to see larger companies.
Blue chip, one would say, because here's this week's. If you've bought a part, you probably bought something from Arrow, a community advocate in Denver, Colorado. Arrow is a global leader in electronic components, software, and solutions. We are building a team to more deeply address the needs of the maker community. Basically, this is a dream job for someone.
Yeah, this is awesome.
If you just want to hang out and talk to makers about electronics.
Maybe you live like near Denver or like in Boulder or something.
I don't know anyone who lives there. So I don't even know if you have to be there or remote. I don't know anyone who I don't know anyone specifically the second in that.
No, but I'm saying, let's say you, the viewer.
Oh, okay. I thought you were asking me.
No, not you. No, you work with me. Like, don't go to.
This is a pretty good job, though. If I wasn't doing this, I'd consider it.
This is cool. You get to hang out. You get to do maker stuff, and you basically like do projects and show people how being a maker is awesome. And Arrow sells electronic components. We buy tons of components from Arrow.
Yeah.
They're great. The prices are, the best. And they're interested in makers are no longer just buying 1 or 2 parts. They're starting to do Kickstarters. They're starting to start companies.
Yeah.
And so Arrow's like, how can we get in there and get to these people and teach them? Because a lot of people go to DigiKey and Mouser.
Yeah.
And those are more maker friendly there. But Arrow is kind of where you want to go if you're doing large scale manufacturing. I mean, it is. I'm sorry, it's true. That's what they're good at. They're large scale manufacturing.
So I think this is cool because all of the, I'd say like mid-range kind of makery companies that are in kind of our space, they've been using our jobs board to find people for jobs like this. And so it's cool that a big company like Arrow is like, you know what, like if we want to get someone who gets the maker community, we should probably put a job on the Adafruit jobs board. So that's why we put it there. This is like, it's finally full circle. It's very cool.
Okay.
And so I'll be applying for it. I have this idea where thered be this pink-haired engineer, and every week we do a video show. It's
brought to you by Arrow.
It's a crazy idea. So, anyways, okay. Next up,
that's neat. That's neat that the jobs board is like. It's
a thing. It's a thing.
And these are like paying jobs, by the way. They're not internships. That's a job.
I remember when I told you and Daigo, who's our CTO, I'm like, hey, like, can we do a jobs board? And here's this like open source thing called Jobber, and it was like, and we still use it.
It's so janky, but it's okay.
But it's cool because like, yeah, it's cool. Anyways, it was like 5 years ago. Okay, open source hardware news. This one is just a reminder because I have a note to remind folks. Adafruit.io is open. It's open for biz.
And not only that, but we are, I think I was talking to the Adafruit.io team, we're getting thousands of new feeds made every day.
So Adafruit.io.
It's heating up.
Yeah, the best place online right now for free. We're eventually going to have pro accounts, so if you want to start using this, you should, because eventually we're going to have tiered accounts so we can
We'll never take anything away, but we might add, like, if you want to create, like, hundreds of thousands of feeds, or you want, like, to be able to do, like, crazy amounts of data.
Yeah,
we do limit it a little bit just to keep our servers under control.
We'll work it out, and we want to find the people who use it so much where they're like, this is valuable, this is what it's worth to me. So, anyways.
And if you're using it now for free,
enjoy.
Pick up an Adafruit product to use with it, because all of our stuff works pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, Adafruit learning system. How many tutorials do you think there are?
We have 896 tutorials.
97.
897.
We must have released a tutorial in between when I asked you that question.
Yeah.
All right.
We are close.
Yeah, we want to get 1,000.
Oh, you know what? It's the Bluetooth Snowflake sweater.
Yeah. Okay.
That one.
So what is this?
This is. We're going to show the video later.
Yeah.
This is the sweater, which we will show you the video, but it has a flexible 8x8 LED matrix in it, and a feather Bluefruit, or you can use a Flora also if you want to use a Flora and a Bluefruit module to make a Bluetooth controlled LED 8x8 matrix. And like, you can have it do anything, but for this project, Becky made it so it displays different snowflakes, and you can control the color and what snowflake appears on your sweater. And it's a cute little project. It's a temporary project. You don't have to sew it in permanently. You should just whip stitch this one in, and we'll show the video if you'd like to see it.
Yeah, we're going to show the video soon. Okay. Next up, this is from the tutorial that we're also playing a video for.
This is the 3D Thursday tutorial. Let's see the video tomorrow, and also
we're going to show the video tonight.
Sorry, they're going to talk about it tomorrow. Show the video for you tonight. You can also watch it tomorrow on 3D Thursday. I'm sure they'll show you the video. It's pretty short, but this tutorial is how to build a 3D printed mount for your hoverboard, the little scooter thing that you attach a GoPro on, and so you can get like really cool like ground action shots.
Okay.
That's
and next up, this is probably one of my favorite guides. Philby has outdone himself again.
This is Revenge of Pi Painter. So the Pi Painter project we did it a long time ago, and we had LPD 8806 strips, and they were like 36 LED per meter. And the Raspberry Pi has a lot of processing power, which means it can do really cool stuff like gamma correction and dithering, and like it can really handle that much like large images and reads them off an SD card. And so you can see Phil B here, you know, he stood in place. Normally he'd walk off, but he stood still for a little bit. So you can see it's a 6 foot tall, 2 meter tall, dot star 144, LED per meter strip. So it's like it's basically 300 LEDs for this strip, and it's extremely high resolution. The dot stars are ultra high PWM rate, so the color is very, very smooth, so it allows you to do really sweet dithering So you can see here like the
Yeah.
gradient effects, and then the Earth. You know, these are effects that you normally can't get. I mean, there's also the Star Wars one. It looks like photoshopped in, but that's actually they took a couple shots, and that's just him walking it across.
Yeah,
This one's just fun because you can have a person
Yeah, this is good
in
stuff.
in the shot. So this just shows how to make a really intense, like best of breed light painter. It kind of doesn't get any more hardcore than this. This is as large as you can get, the most pixel density, and using a Pi to drive it lets you get the best dithering effect and the most color uniformity, because it's got the processing power to process the image right before display.
Okay. Let's keep moving. So that was learned. Okay, this week, time travel. Look back in the world of hackers, makers, artists, and engineers. You know, one of the things that we've started to do with our time travel section is we like to have a bunch of firsts, a bunch of pioneering women and men who are the first at something, in addition to all of the things that happen in the world of makers. So this one is interesting. This is Rebecca Douglas, Canadian astronomer, was born. Usually went by her middle name. She was a Canadian astronomer and the first Canadian woman to become an astrophysicist. She earned her PhD in astrophysics through McGill in 1925 and was the first person to receive it from Quebec University and the first woman to accomplish this in North America.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Allie Douglas, you know, it's cool. I think I'm pretty up on like a lot of pioneers because like you're one, and like we try to celebrate a lot of women who aren't in the spotlight. I haven't heard of her.
I haven't heard of her either.
And so now I have, and so now I'm trying to figure out.
She looks cool. She looks like she's just like, look, are you denting this photo? Because I gotta go look at the stars some more.
I gotta go solve the universe problems.
I gotta go figure out physics.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's neat, and so now as I'm looking around in, you know, I'm a physics nerd. As I'm looking around and stuff, I'm like, whoa, there was a lot of missed opportunities to celebrate someone like her. So when we do stuff now, I'm going to make sure that we mention Allie, but you went by her middle name. So anyways, I think that's cool. First astrophysicist in North America. First woman. You'd think that'd be on currency or something by now. A rocket would be named after her. Maybe there is, but I got to look. So anyways.
When we make a rocket, we can name it after her.
Yeah.
I mean, she's Canadian, but I'm okay with that.
It's fine. Neighbors to the north. Okay, next up. Wearables. This week we have the sweater video that you talked about. Let's play the video.
Check it out.
This week's wearables project is a Snowflake sweater featuring a NeoPixel LED matrix controlled over Bluetooth with the Adafruit Bluefruit LE Connect app for iOS or Android. Let's get started. Heat up the solder pads of the wires on the back of the NeoPixel matrix and flip them around the other way so they face towards the inside of the board. Then you can attach the microcontroller of your choice. Here I did it two ways, with the Flora and the Flora Bluefruit module, but also with the Bluefruit Feather, which requires less soldering since the Bluefruit module is already on board. That makes this project just 3 solder joints. Coding up the snowflakes was a cinch in Arduino using the Adafruit GFX library for the NeoPixel matrix. I drew lines and rectangles, sometimes overwriting with a blank color to get like a hollow center, for example. You could use this code standalone and just have an animating snowflake or a single snowflake, and then the Bluefruit control allows you to change the snowflake and change the color. Noe and I worked together on this video to show you how to code up your own LED animations controlled with the Bluefruit app. Once your circuit is assembled and you've got the snowflake code loaded up, it's really easy to put it in your sweater. I made this one just temporarily attached because it's a seasonal thing and I could take it out and use it for something else later. I just used a needle and thread to tack the corners down to sort of hold it in place. If I wanted to make it a little more permanent, I could sew a pouch for the circuit like you've seen us do in projects before, but this will work fine for a couple holiday parties or around the office. Of course, there's a complete tutorial for this project. The link is in the description. What winter wearables are you working on? Let us know in the comments and show them off on our live show and tell hangout each week on Google+. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more wearable electronics from Adafruit.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Festive.
So, do you think that's pronounced Rebet or
Vibert.
Vibert?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the lady astrophysicist. So
Vibert, yeah.
there's
I mean, it's kind of, she's kind of cool for sure.
Yeah, so maybe it's Rebecca Douglas. Anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, she got a crater in Venus.
It's definitely not Vibert.
Yeah, she got a crater in Venus named after her. We got to do something about this. Okay. Anyways, it's not. I mean, it's cool. It's cool to have a crater named after Venus, but there's other things too I think we could do. Anyways.
It's a lot of craters.
Let's keep going. Don't forget, Warble Electronics with Becky Stern.
Every single Wednesday.
Wednesday, 2 p.m., yeah. Next week, I think I'm on the show.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. All right. 3D printing.
Zoop, 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 zoop.
Yeah. All right. Gnome Pedro here with video. And it is the hoverboard video.
Come on, you're all going to get one.
Yeah.
Project.
Vroom.
Hey, what's up everybody? Noah here for Adafruit. So this holiday season, it seems like these hoverboards are getting really popular. But if you're a filmmaker or somebody who just likes to get content, these actually make pretty good image stabilizers, especially for getting footage. So we thought we'd make a GoPro mount specifically designed for the hoverboard, I guess we can call it, where it just clips onto it. So let's take a look at how it works and how you can use it on your hoverboard if you have one and if you want to use it for getting stabilized shots. We designed this camera mount to fit on most monorover self-balancing scooters. The parts used in this project are listed in the description. This took about an hour and a half to 3D print, and it only cost around $1 in material to actually make. To mount it to the scooter, all you have to do is wrap it around the center and slide those two clips together until it's securely locked. A cold shoe mount secures the swivel tripod adapter, allowing the GoPro to be adjusted and locked in different positions. This makes a pretty sturdy yet adjustable GoPro camera rig that doesn't obstruct riding or the scooter itself. And now let's take a look at the footage from the GoPro. All right, so there you have it, pretty simple GoPro mount. This of course can work with any other type of camera as long as it has a tripod adapter. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more 3D printing projects, but until then, I'll see you guys in the next one. Battery's dead. I can't ride home with it.
Alrighty, Noah and Pedro are doing 3D Hangouts tomorrow. Don't forget to tune in. Yeah, Thursday.
3 p.m.
Yeah. And
Wait, are they doing it next Thursday?
I don't know. I'll have to look at the. We have so many shows going on now.
They're definitely doing one tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see.
The 17th, but I don't believe they're doing one the week after.
We'll find out.
We'll
It'll
find
be a
out.
surprise. It'll be on the site. Okay. Next up, some news in the world of Raspberry Pi. This is kind of big news. Pi stuff is in space. It's in space. Yeah, so earlier this week, after 3 days of scrubs due to bad weather, the AstroPi payload, 2 specially cased Raspberry Pis, SenseHat, and lots of experiments coded by UK school children, was finally launched into space on the Orbital Science Cygnus cargo freighter on the 4th resupply mission to ISS. The precious payload inside of the nose of the cone of the rocket in the GIF above. If you missed it live, you can watch the replay of the launch below. That is on
That's so cool.
raspberrypi.org. That's neat.
Pi in space.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have this like awesome like machined stainless steel enclosure to keep it like solid and all in one piece. And
Yeah, it's cool.
yeah, it runs code, and yeah, we'll check it out.
Yeah.
See what I want to know what the results of the experiments are, because it has a bunch of sensors on it. It had like a 9DOF sensor, I think, and like humidity and temperature, and like
Yeah.
it's cool because accelerometer, it's like it's not gonna be able to measure I mean, there's no gravity. Like usually
Yeah.
it measures tilt with gravity, but you can't do that.
We need to get to space so bad, and the reason is because
Why?
apartments are so small and expensive, and there's so much space out there.
Space.
Most of everything is space. It's so big. There's no reason that rent should be this high.
All right.
It's so big out there.
Okay.
You have no idea.
You know, it's cold up there. No heat. I know you don't like taking hot showers anyways, but like
I don't need heat. I just need more space.
4
Anyways,
degrees Kelvin is pretty cold.
I'd get a coat because I have plenty of room to. Anyways,
You have some pretty warm coats.
I have some more guys. Okay.
Is it that time?
It's new product time.
All right.
Okay, let's
Meow, meow,
let's do
meow,
this right away.
meow, meow,
Okay,
meow,
speaking of
meow,
Raspberry
meow,
Pi
meow.
stuff.
This is the Hi-Fi Berry Pi Hat. So this is the DAC Plus. It's kind of it's a hat that uses I2S, it's digital audio out of your Pi, and you basically just do a little bit of typing to load it up an overlay. I think or maybe the EEPROM is automatically loaded. Basically, it gives you very high percent. I think it's 24-bit audio, like 88 kilohertz, whatever. It's like or whatever 192-bit, whatever it is, the highest of the highest. It is like one of the nicest DAC. I think it's a burr brown DAC. You can even see it got split ground, and it gives you RCA output. You can also solder in an audio jack. Basically, if you want to connect your Pi to like a stereo system, or like you want to have it like play music or effects, but you just want it to be very high quality.
Yeah.
This hat is a very convenient way to do so.
Okay.
Works with the Pi 2, B+, 0, all of the Pis you know and love. Won't work with the Raspberry Pi 1 because it has the longer connector.
Okay. All right. Next up, I think we're dubbing this the Goldilocks battery.
This is what Phil B calls the Goldilocks battery. So let me.
And I assume because the battery's just right.
It's just right.
It's just right.
So we've had historically 500 milliamp hour battery. Let me zoom in a little bit. This is a 500 milliamp hour battery. You can see written on here. And this is a 150 milliamp hour battery. And you can see this one's like really cute and small, and it's like this one is like really big, and it's also a lot thicker. So this one's really small and skinny and square. And Phil B was doing a lot of projects where he's like, well, I want to be able to fit it into like a bottle or an enclosure, and I just need something that's a little bit more than 150, because 150 is not that much, but I don't need it as big as the 500. And so, ta-da, the Goldilocks. It's a battery that is the same width as the 150, so you can see it's got the same width as the 150, so it can slide into the same enclosure sizes, but it's the length and thickness of the 150. So it's basically like right now I got 150, 350, and 500. So a nice little, this is twice as much, and this is another like 2 times the size. This is like 3 times the size of this battery. So now you have something in the middle. I was cool with it. We want to do a couple of projects, and he's like, I really want a battery that's twice as much as this.
Okay. Can you boost any of them to 5 volts?
Yep, you can use our Power Boost 500 with any of them, and they'll work just fine. They'll boost up the battery.
Yeah.
It won't, you won't last as long because when you lose the milliamp hour capacity, it'll be halved approximately. But you can absolutely boost them to 5 volts. Just use a Power Boost or similar. Or
Okay.
you can use a LDO, a low dropout regulator, to get down to 3.3 volts. A lot of our stuff uses 3.3, so that's why we like light polys. So now we have another light poly.
Okay. Next up, SD card with something on it.
It's Jessie Light. This is an SD card, a 4 gigabyte SD card with Jessie Light, which is a pared down version of Raspberry and Jessie. If you have a Raspberry Pi, and you've noticed that Jessie is kind of big. I mean, it's got like Minecraft and like Wolfram and like Mathematica, and it's X11 in the door. It's got everything. I mean, it's got like a lot of stuff on it, and so it's about 5 gigs. And so a lot of people may already have 4 gig cards kicking around, or maybe even 2 gig cards. The version of Jessie Light fits on a 2 gig card or larger. We stuck it on 4 gig because honestly, 2 gig and 4 gig cards cost about the same amount.
Yeah.
Pick up a copy if you like.
Okay. Next up.
Really good for headless setups because you don't lose all that space to X11.
We got keyboards.
Oh yeah, this is a nice keyboard.
Yeah, these are super cool.
These are new keyboards. We carry the little mini version. Actually, you know what? I think
What do you want to do?
Hold on. I might have one.
We have
I
these,
do.
Yeah, we have these keyboards because we have all these like little Linux computers.
I know. So can you go to the overhead?
Yeah.
The front.
Oh.
Okay, it's fine. So we have this little.
That's good. We'll go to what you said. Yeah.
So we have this little keyboard, and this is like really like a palm keyboard. And it's got these little like mini keys, and then there's a trackpad here with left and right buttons. But this is like really small, and it's not. You can kind of thumb type, but you can't. It's not like finger type. It's really hard to do so. This keyboard, it's not like full size, but it's like larger size. It's still smallish, and it's very thin. and it's made by the same company, and so like these are really good, and these are really, really good. So this uses a wireless protocol, and it uses a USB dongle, which tucks into here. And so you only need one USB port, so it makes it really good for like a single board computer like a BeagleBone or Raspberry Pi or whatever, where you only have one USB port, because it adds keyboard and mouse, and you get a really nice big trackpad, and then you can have buttons by clicking either one finger for left or 2 fingers for right, and automatically detects that you pressed with 2 fingers, and it does a right click. And you get like a keyboard, and you get the function keys and the number keys, and like basically up, down, left, right. So you get kind of everything, which is nice, and it's like in the format that you can actually type with. So this is a nice upgrade to this, and it works with pretty much every computer. We used it with a Pi, and it works great. You can use it with other stuff. It comes with a charging cable, and it has a built-in battery, which is in here, and it's a really, really well put together little keyboard. I like it.
Okay. Moving right along.
With trackpad.
We now have some more LED strips here, and it is NeoPixel. So this is just them off, which is not so interesting.
That's on, and this is a really good gift. So let's just stick with this one. So this is these are NeoPixel RGBW. So we've had a couple. We've had the bare LEDs. Now we have them in strip. So these are, they're just like NeoPixels that you know and love, except instead of having red, green, blue, they have red, green, blue, white. So they actually have a 4th LED in the package, and so you have to make sure your library is updated to support it. We have, the Adafruit NeoPixel library definitely supports RGBW, because you just put W in when you make the object, and it will use, you can select the white channel. Otherwise it'll look really weird, because it'll alternate the pixels, because it doesn't know that it's 4 bytes per pixel. But because there's a true white pixel in it, you get really good white light. If you want to have a lighting effect that's white, you can tint the white with color, but it's really good if you want to have white pixels, because RGBW never gets you good color reproducibility. It's always kind of like a bluish, and you can kind of see that it's made of 3 colors mixed together. The white is a much more pure white color. So we have it in 30. And
yeah. Do you want to skip to the other animated graphics?
That's 144. So this just shows the RGB, and then we have a little white strip going through to show that the white is very white. And then
Then we have this one.
Sorry, that was the 60, and this is the 144.
Yeah.
So 144, it's like almost completely solid color. Like I can't even tell. There's so many pixels. And they have a white flex PCB, and they're just like NeoPixels, but you get more. They're a little bit more expensive because the LEDs have more going on. And then can you click on the picture right before this one?
Yeah. You want to show the density?
Yeah. Can you zoom in to? Oh no, go on.
Yeah.
Can you zoom into this?
Oh yeah.
Because I want to show the individual LEDs, because it's hard to show on the overhead, but this picture's really
Okay.
high quality. Zoom.
Woo.
Enhance. So you can see that the NeoPixels kind of got this little diffuse look to it. Well, it's partially because there's the silicone cover, but it actually is a little bit more diffuse. And then on the bottom, there's that yellow half circle. That's the yellow LED that, the yellow phosphor for the white LED. So you've got the RGB up top, and then separately you have the quarter of the LED is this yellow phosphor, but it mixes very well, so that when you actually display it, doesn't look like it's a half moon. It actually just looks like it's kind of coming out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then I can show it live as well on the overhead. I've got it
All right.
displaying. Hold on. So we've got red, and then it switches to green, and then blue, and then white. And it's kind of like a neutral white. It's not really cold, it's not really warm, it's kind of right in the middle there. We didn't want to carry like every single color, so we thought, well, we'll just go with this. But it's a nice white color. You can use it for lighting. It's not a cold white, but it's also not like an incandescent white either. It's kind of like right in the middle. So
Yeah.
there you go. You get RGBW, and it works great. Just remember, it uses 30% more power, because it has 80 milliamps per LED max. So you have 4 diodes, not 3.
Okay.
So you watch power.
I'm gonna jump to a question since we're here on this right now. What's the difference between this and the dot star?
NeoPixels are a little bit easier to, well, there's more code available for NeoPixels. They only use 1 pin instead of 2 pin, which means you have to have very precise timing. So some processors can't run NeoPixels, but these days pretty much everybody's figured out a way to get NeoPixels working on it. So, so that's good. You only need 1 pin to do it. And dot stars don't exist with this RGBW configuration yet. They only do RGB. So the NeoPixel protocol is those are the ones you can get with the RGBW full white subpixel. Other than that, like the NeoPixels have a slightly slower refresh rate. So if you want to do light painting like we showed earlier, dot stars are better because they have higher frequency PWM. You don't get as much dithering, although these are actually SK brand. They're not so bad. You can barely tell that there is the PWM effect. They are a little bit faster than the 400 hertz of the original World Semi NeoPixels.
Okay. Wow. Good answer. All right. And then next up, the star of the show besides you tonight is the OLED featherwing.
Yay! It is the code featherwing. It is a featherwing. We're continuing to have more feather accessories. We had the proto featherwing last week. This week we have the OLED featherwing. This adds a slim little OLED to your feather. It works with any of the feathers, the Huzzah, the 32U4, the M0, the Blue Fruit, the Adalogger, all of them. It uses I2C to display text or graphics, 32 by 128 pixels of monochrome LED. It's very high contrast. It'll work in a lot of different lighting conditions. It doesn't use a lot of power because OLEDs don't have a backlight, which is really nice. They refresh pretty fast. We have a great library that's really well established, like works awesome. And then we had extra space. We put 3 buttons for like a little menu control system. So we have A, B, C buttons that you can use to activate different things on your feather board. So we're trying to add little add-ons for the feather wings that you can stack on like shields. These wings stack on top, and so you can do some activity. So I can show this on the overhead.
Yeah, let's go to the overhead. And
turn that off.
I'll talk about a question that came up.
No, can you zoom in?
Yeah. So right now it's one of the busiest weeks of the year, and we also so Lady Ada occasionally comes up, and I say occasionally isn't like all the time. She comes up with some hits, and the feather's a hit, and it's super popular.
We're making more.
Yeah.
They sold out very fast, and the way we do manufacturing here, we do it the same way, where we don't manufacture 5,000 of something and ship them all out, which has caused other people problems. We haven't had a problem because we don't do that. What we do is we make our first run of 250. And
small batch artisanal.
Yeah. And then we listen to make sure that because there's some people had an issue with the M0 bootloader. I wanted to make sure that got resolved. Turns out it was a simple driver thing. But we don't want to send out thousands of boards that might have an issue, especially new designs are susceptible to, you never know, something could have changed. And so we don't do large batches, but the next batch will be larger. So they will come back in stock, don't worry. We know them, they're popular.
Yeah.
I think tomorrow and Friday is we're going to be manufacturing. So maybe in a week or two we'll have more. We're on it. Just sign up.
Yeah. Okay. So you want to show this thing?
Yeah. So I have this stacked on top of a feather Huzzah. So it's an ESP8266, and it's running off of LiPo. I can run it off of our 350 milliamp hour LiPo just to show that it is Goldilocks quality. Okay. So plug that in. And then the feather wing you solder headers on. Oh, sorry. Sorry. You just plug in the feather wing.
So that's a Huzzah feather.
It's a Huzzah feather, and I can just show you can just graphics. So it comes up with a little splash screen for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there's these buttons. They don't do anything because I kind of didn't make them do anything. But there's ABC buttons, and then you can see it's connecting to Adafruit, and it's sending out a value. So you can fit 4 lines of text, and it looks like it's 6 pixels wide.
So that could send stuff to Adafruit.io.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it can also tell you, or you can have data come from Adafruit.io. Like it's kind of designed to be very easy to integrate. But you can use this with any of the feathers. It doesn't work with just this one. It uses I2C, and since the I2C pins over here are the same on all the feathers, this works on all of them. So that's very cross-platform. So instead of, it's designed ahead of time to work with all of them. So you can fit like 4 by, let's see, 128 by 20, 4 by 20 characters of text, and it's fairly low power. And then there's also a reset button if you want to reset the board. So we'll do projects with this, but people were like, oh, I want a little display, and like, yeah, this is basically the slimmest display you can fit on a little breadboard like this.
My prediction is by the end of 2016, Feather is going to be one of the most common boards for prototypers, makers, engineers, people who like this form factor, like all the stuff it can do.
Yeah.
And also the cost is the price is great.
Here's it with a doubler. This is one of the photos.
I like the doubler.
Yeah, the doubler's fun because it's like if you don't want to have like this one has stacking headers on it. So I put long headers on it, but this one you don't have to. You just have this kind of prototyping side by side action, and then you can do the same thing.
And like you can have like Bluetooth, you can have Wi-Fi, you can like all this stuff.
And we're gonna come out with more feathers. This is just this is running the graphics demo. Although I think I forgot to put a delay in it, so it's gonna crash.
Yeah.
It's watchdog timer. That's exactly how long the watchdog timer lasts before it crashes. It's fixed in the committed code on GitHub. But yeah, you can do lines and graphics and text and all that good stuff, and connect over Wi-Fi or whatever. But we'll have more feather wings coming out.
Yeah.
Next up, we have a motor driver, and we have a PWM servo driver, and then we have like real-time clock and
Phone a Feather.
Phone a Feather is. I'm waiting for those micro SIM card holders to come in.
Yeah.
There was like a minimum order quantity of 5,000. I'm like, I'm not ready to do 5,000, so I found a place to sell me 1,000 holders, and so we're gonna rock that out. But so this is the feather wing for tonight. It's adorable.
Okay. All right, and with that, Lady Ada is new products.
Yay!
You did it. You did it. That was it. Okay, so before we answer some questions, first up, the code is Featherwing. That's 10% off anything in the Adafruit store except for gift certificates and also software. We're not allowed to discount those. We're going to do It's Not Out Yet, Don't Ask.
Okay.
We're going to do it.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. From our secret vault here at Adafruit. It's not out yet, don't ask. Okay, so this week you're going to show something on the overhead?
Yeah, sure.
All right, here you go.
Okay.
Don't ask about this thing, folks.
So this is, take this one. So this is a board that I've been working on. If you've been watching from the desk of Lady Ada, you would know this is the Circuit Playground. I've done like a couple of videos about this. But it's a round board that's made for plugging in alligator clips, and it has the same chipset as the Flora up here. But instead of having a lot of empty space, I was like, well, let's see how much we can squish in here. So it's got 2 buttons. It's got a slide switch. It's got 10 mini NeoPixels. It's got a reset button. It's got a light sensor, a temperature sensor, a buzzer speaker, and a sound sensor. As well as a regulator over here, and battery in and on LED and a pin 13 LED. And these can also act as capacitive touch buttons as well. It's got little mini pull-ups here, like 1 mega ohm pull-ups to do capacitive touch. And so the idea is I wanted to design something that was for schools and companies that were like, we're doing a hackathon, and we basically need something to do some sensing or electronics that you can connect to a computer or maybe use on its own. That's wearable and is all in one and has no soldering. Maybe I use alligator clips, but you don't have to solder or even sew anything. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll take the Flora and I'll kind of extend it. So it's going to be changed a little bit. Like I'm going to reduce the size of this buzzer. But if you watch from Disk Lady Ada, you'll see me bring up this board, and maybe then you can ask me some questions.
Okay, and that is.
And it's purple.
The top
really
secret
purple
vault. At Adafruit. Okay. Next up, we're going to do questions. Start typing your questions in the chat.
Except for the thing you can ask about.
Yeah, you can't ask about this thing you just saw.
Yes.
And we'll get to them as fast as we can. So, here's a bunch queued up.
Okay.
You ready?
Yes.
Do you ever get a bad pixel on the OLEDs? Do you ever see a bad pixel come up?
I did once when I got a bad batch, but I haven't since then. I mean, they do eventually burn out, but I think it takes a long time. I mean, I guess it depends. If you got it from us, we can look at it and maybe suggest something or replace it. But we do a test where we light up all the pixels, And to pass QA, we make sure that all the, we look for an out pixel.
Okay, if someone has two Wi-Fi feathers giving out a Wi-Fi one receiving Wi-Fi in the same feather, would they fight? I think they mean, is there a conflict if you had two Wi-Fi feathers on a doubler, maybe?
Well, you can't connect them to each other, but you could have one as an AP mode and one as a client mode. So like one can create an access point and the other one can connect to it. You can do that.
That'd be fun. Okay. Next up, any fat designs in the works? Will you be getting the Pimeroni?
We do have Pimeroni fats on order. We have a couple of ideas for fats, but we don't. We're working really hard on feather, so it's which is kind of similar. We might make like a fat adapter or something because I'm trying to get a bunch of these feather things done before the end of the year, and we have like 8 more to go.
Okay. Next up is, do you suggest a Raspberry Pi or BeagleBone? I can answer this one. They're definitely different. So look at, there's lots of comparisons. I think Make just recently did an article.
We even did a speed comparison.
We had a speed comparison. It really, decide what you want to do first and then see what it does. I'd say right now, the biggest amount of projects and code is probably for Raspberry Pi. However,
for pure speed, if you have to do bit banging or real-time stuff, the BeagleBone is your choice.
Yeah, and a good example in Time Magazine recently, we saw that the people who caught Volkswagen, one of the testing things that they used was BeagleBone.
That's true.
And they used our stuff on top of it. That's how we knew. So we had a cape that we made for prototyping. Mm-hmm. So they used BeagleBone with some sensors, and they probably had to do some really fast stuff for emissions detection.
Yeah.
Okay. Next up, for the no, that's Circuit Playground. You can't ask about that. Next up, what's the smallest sound sensor do we have, and could it be used for a microphone for a helmet?
Our MEMS microphone breakout is as small as it gets, and you can use it in a helmet. I mean, I guess it depends on what you're doing with it, but it's small.
Okay.
It's the same size as the one I showed on the
Okay.
circuit board.
Is it possible, safe, to connect an XB directly to a 3.3 volt Pro trinket without an adapter?
Yep, you can. I mean, just remember that it has a 2mm pinout, so you'll have to figure out a way to get those pins connected to the breadboard, or I mean, you'll have to pass wires or use 2mm head. I mean, whatever. You can do it. There's no logic level shifting required because it's a 3-volt device.
Speaking of XB, on the Maker Business newsletter, which we publish every day during the week, it was all about IoT, Internet of Things trends for 2016. And I linked to an article by Rob Faluti, who is formerly at ITP, who did botanicals, which was plants that would call you and tell you to water themselves, because plants can't. And he went on to be Director of Innovation at Digi, which makes XBs. So what's cool is I'm saying all this stuff and all these connections.
You know what's funny is with the Phona module, you can actually make a botanicals now that actually calls you.
Yeah, maybe we should talk to him.
We should maybe like remake it.
Do
And you can have solar power.
Do you want to email him? I don't know.
Well, I don't know.
But what's funny is,
use a feather phone.
So I'm one of the few people who know that connection all the way to when he was in school doing this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking I was going to mention this on the show at some point. And what's not possible right now, which will be so common one day, is when someone mentions someone's name, you get a little like a Google alert for text.
Yeah.
That like Rob Faluti, email me. Like he's not going to hear this and see this. He might
be watching.
He might be watching, but that should be possible by now. That should be possible. It is 2015. If you're mentioned in a video, you should be able to get a news alert. That should be.
I'm sure Facebook is working on it.
Well, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know what they're working on.
This is the kind of stuff they work on.
I don't know.
All right, more engineering questions.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, I'd like to do another botanical project.
Okay, we will do it.
Is what I'm saying. All right. Will we ever have railroad products in the store?
Ooh, I don't think so. I don't have any plans for it. You can email. We have in our contact form. We have a suggest a product, and we can take a look. But I've never done anything with Model Railroad, so I'm not sure. But it sounds like fun.
Okay. Are you planning to make a mini NeoPixel solder your own breakout board?
I don't know yet. I'm still playing around with them. I don't know if they have the same humidity issues that the original NeoPixels did. I want to make sure that gets resolved if there is an issue before I do anything intense with the mini NeoPixels.
Okay, can the Mailbag style pogo pins be pick and place, tiny surface mount pogo pins, not the long standing?
I don't know. know. I mean, I don't think so. I would hand place them because it's just hard to get a grip on them, and they can move around. So unless you have a pick and place that has a grabber, I would just place them by hand. I mean, they're fairly large.
Okay.
And I just do them as a manual step.
Next up, best 3D printer for the price. I would say in the different tiers, PrinterBot for sure, and then next tier up is Ultimaker.
Yeah.
Those two I like.
PrinterBot and Ultimaker are pretty good.
I like those.
Although the FlashForge is right
Flash
in the
Forge
middle.
too. Yeah. All these are. If we stock it, it's good.
Yeah, we are
pretty much-
very.
Yeah.
We don't try to have two that are
Yeah.
in the same price but different quality.
Next up, is it possible to power up this composite screen product 913 with 3.3 volts? On the website, it's written 6 to 12 volts, but there's a pin written 3.3.
You can try. I think that it actually uses the 6 volts to drive the backlight of the TFT, so you might get an image but no backlight.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
That's all I know.
How about a version of the motor shield with encoder inputs for the motors?
Probably not, because every motor encoder is slightly different. There's like Hall effect ones. There's one that are switches, and the kind of stuff that we're doing is not as hardcore. Like the people who are doing the motor stuff that we do, it's little buggies and things that move, and they're not using that. We don't carry and we don't really use the extensive motors that have built-in encoders. I mean, those can easily get up to like hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So for that stuff, like there's driver boards that do that, and like they're awesome at it. And like I think Pololo has them, and you should just buy stuff from them.
Yeah. Go to Pololo for that.
Yeah, they're experts. I don't want to sell something that I don't know is really good, and if I'm not expert
Yeah.
at designing that sort of thing, and I will totally admit I am not an expert at robotics. It's one of my weakest.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like we hung with Pololo, and I remember one of the things you said is like, we're so not interested in the market that you guys are doing fantastic in, and they're like,
not into LEDs
and they're
and
not
we're
into
not
LEDs,
into
and it's
robotics,
like it's cool because they're great. Anyways, that's what I'd suggest the same thing. Next up, difference between the Adafruit Feather 32U4 Bluefruit LE and the Adafruit Feather Huzzah with ESP8266 Wi-Fi.
One has an Atmega 32U4 Arduino compatible chip with a Bluetooth Low Energy, and the other is an ESP8266 chip that just does Wi-Fi. The Bluetooth one can't do Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi one can't do Bluetooth. Wi-Fi is a little bit higher power, but it can talk to any device. You can connect to your home network or whatever. Bluetooth can only connect to your phone and maybe your computer if you're running Bluetooth software on it.
Okay. Next up, I'm trying to see if I can make an electric fence alert system. Where can I get a notification if the fence went down? I was planning on hooking up the car battery. Will this work? The electric part would be probably different than the notification part. So you'll probably have to have something separate that's going to do the notification.
I don't know this either. I've never lived in a place with a fence. I know exactly what you're trying to do because it's a common thing. Like, I want to know if an animal has touched the fence or broken down the fence because they do that, and then all your other animals get loose or get in. You want to keep out and in.
Yeah.
There are systems out there. I think there's people who've built DIY systems. I don't know what they use. A car battery is fine. You can use like a marine cell battery because those are able to handle cold night temperatures. You want something that can handle like night temperatures and daytime temperatures.
I also know if the fence goes down, so like if it just stops working. And I think
usually you have like a conductive wire, and then like when the fence gets broken, it breaks the wire. But like
you can do a current detection, and then if that doesn't work out, that can be with a phona, and then that could send a message because you want something separate from the power source and it being the electric fence part. Yeah. Okay. Next up. Will you guys ever be doing any live shows from San Francisco? Hold that thought, because at the end, as we're cleaning up, I'm probably going to be playing a video that you were in San Francisco.
That's right.
So we're going to be doing that in just like 1 minute. Okay, those are the questions because we got to give something away. Oh, I'll mention one other thing. Someone wants to know what's a good Arduino to get started with. Arduino Uno.
It's a good one.
Uno. Okay, we're going to give stuff away now. Ready?
Yep.
Let's do it. Trivia question time.
It's giveaway. It's giveaway.
All right, trivia question. What are the rules, Lady Ada?
Rules are if you've won something before, you can't enter, and don't even type in the answer as a hint to something. We want everyone to have the joy of winning by themselves without any kind of cheating or behind the scenes activity.
All right.
So just keep your thoughts to yourself. Let everybody have a chance to win. The first person to type in the answer on Twitch, YouTube, or Ustream will be the winner. They're going to win a meter of 30 LED RGBW NeoPixel.
Okay.
Because the Feather OLED.
What's the product ID? Just can you have it ready?
Yeah. I have to
Okay.
get it ready.
So here's the trivia question. This is part of something we talked about early in your show. So Allie Verbay Douglas, she was the first astrophysicist woman in North America. She was Canadian. And now there is a crater named after her on a planet in our solar system. Which planet? Type it in. This is easy because you can probably guess. Type it in, and the first one I see in one of the various chats, I will let them know.
Not yet.
Yeah. So it's not Pluto. Someone guessed Pluto, but that's not
It's
it.
not Pluto. Okay.
Well, let's see. It is it's a close one between YouTube and Twitch this week. It's You're So Nate. Venus, congratulations. You're So Nate Venus. You won.
Yay.
Email support@adafruit.com.
Tell them you won a P2832.
Yeah, P.
You want to tell them that?
Yeah,
P-
that just helps us.
2832.
P2832.
Yeah.
Okay, congratulations. You get this. See
A
how
meter.
this is here right now? It's going to get transported in some way.
You get a meter of
UPS.
RGBW. Everybody loves NeoPixels. Like, I'm sure you'll find use for it.
Yeah. Okay, that was a close one. You know, YouTube and Twitch are pretty close.
They're fast.
Okay, so that was the show for tonight. Thank you very much. We're going to be playing a 14-minute video. This is played with permission by O'Reilly, their Next Economy conference. Someone said, would you ever do a live show from San Francisco? And the answer seems to be, it looks like we can stay here and do live stuff from San Francisco.
Yeah.
So special thanks to the entire team out at O'Reilly's
O'Reilly,
Next Economy,
conference, yeah.
because Our Lady Ada gets asked a lot to go to a conference 2,000 miles away and away from the factory here where we make stuff all the time. And
Which is tough on me.
We'd quickly go out of business, and you don't like to go in planes.
I do not like to go on planes.
And I actually think it's...
I York a lot.
I think it's...
York.
Yeah. And so...
Not fun.
And so it's like you lose a day getting there, and then you're there for a small amount
And
of
then
time.
you're working.
And then you lose a day coming back, and then you're knocked out for a few days.
I have to take like so much Dramamine just to
Yeah.
like
So,
deal with the taxi cabs and the traffic
Yeah.
and the flying and the takeoff and the landing.
so what we did was...
And I'm small, but I still get cramped. And
Yeah. So what we did was we asked, could we broadcast live via HD? We're very good at this, into a conference. And they said yes. And so it's a 14-minute interview, and we want to show a little bit of Adafruit and this idea that we have, which is, it's 2015. We have high-speed internet. We should be able to do conferences all over the place with people who just can't go. And you know, there's this big problem in the tech world where it's like, oh, there's not enough diversity. There's not enough a lot of people, but not everyone can fly in a plane and take off, literally
Well, like,
and figuratively.
You're so busy and successful, so take like 4 days
Yeah.
out, and I'm like, I can't do that. And it's like 3 days of travel for like a 20-minute talk. I can't do that.
Yeah. So what we've decided was to try this out, and now we can point to this video. So anyways, we're going to play this. Thank you so much, everyone. There's a picture of a cat.
Yeah.
One of them is Zener. But then we'll see you next week. Don't forget, the code is featherwing, 10% off all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That pays for us to stay here and make electronics. So here is the video. It's going to play, and that's it.
Later.
See you next week.
Hey there.
All right. So, Lamore, tell us a little bit about Adafruit first off.
Absolutely. My name is Lamore Freed, and I'm the founder and lead engineer of Adafruit Industries. We're an open source hardware company here in Manhattan. We're actually in the factory right now, and this is my desk. This is where I do all the CAD design of oscilloscope and a computer and you know, probes and multimeters. And what's really interesting about how Adafruit works is I design electronics here in the factory over there, and then the manufacturing equipment is about 20 feet away. So I'm going to turn around and show you what I actually use to manufacture. This is a surface mount line. It's basically the pick and place line that manufactures everything electronic you have. But usually this is done abroad, usually in Asia or maybe in Mexico. But I've got this right here in my Soho factory, and it's a durable line with a stenciler and a pick in place and a board loader and oven. And yeah, I'm able to design and manufacture 5 seconds apart.
That's awesome. So this is pretty counterintuitive, and it is pretty amazing. You go in there and you go, oh my gosh, this is the whole deal. You're actually one of the last, I believe you were actually the last cell phone manufacturer in America, among other things.
That's right. We do have an open source hardware cell phone, the Arduino phone that we sell and manufacture here in Manhattan, and it's kind of fun. It's like you can build your own phone. You don't have to worry about anybody listening in.
Yeah, is there any chance we can kind of look inside one of these machines, or are they running right now?
This is a stencil printer, but I can show you the pick and place, which is the most interesting machine. Yeah. This is the machine that actually does the pick and placing of components. Components come on reels. They come on spools, and the reels are loaded into the machine here. And then this is the gantry. For safety, it's off. Because if you stick your hand in while it's running, you could take your hand off. But this picks up 12 components all at once and pushes them down to the circuit board at very high speed. It's much more precise and faster than a human could ever be. And this is basically what allows us to have miniaturized electronics like cell phones, tablets, laptops, all that good stuff.
So you're a small business, but not that small. So can you tell us are you willing to share anything about company financials?
Sure. So we're here in this 50,000 square foot manufacturing facility. We have a couple floors here in Soho. We have about 100 people, both on hand here doing manufacturing, fulfillment, shipping, office, human resources, as well as engineering. And then last year, 2004, we grossed 33 million in revenue. And this year, we're probably going to do about 40 million. And
this took a lot of venture capital, right?
Absolutely not. One of the cool things about Adafruit is it's completely self-funded. I'm the 100% owner of the company. We haven't taken any VC, no loans, no funding. We're not against it. For some companies, it makes sense, but we've been able to bootstrap, and all this equipment and stuff is all ours.
That's kind of awesome. And I've watched you do it. Originally, it was with some credit cards, a lot of elbow grease. But you've also, I have to say, you're a master of social media, and your values of sharing are part of what has propelled your business. Can you kind of talk a little bit about how you market your products? Yeah.
So I grew up in a culture that really was worshipped open source and thought that this was the way to have a community of engineers and designers and now makers and hackers and students share information and learn from each other. And so I've kind of taken that philosophy and I've brought it over to the internet space that we're in. So for example, every single week we have a weekly show and tell. It's a hangout where kids and makers, hackers all over the world show up and show off their projects. What are they making? What costumes do they build for Halloween? And then we also have every single week at 8 p.m. Ask an Engineer, which is our broadcast show. We've been doing it for 6 years. Where we answer engineering questions live on the internet. We're also on Twitch and Ustream and YouTube, Periscope, everything.
That's right. If I recall, when we did our first rehearsal for this, you put it on Periscope.
We're Periscoping right now.
Oh, okay. and the other thing that I love, you've got to tell this story about women in engineering that came from one of your listeners.
Yeah, so the show we've been doing, this show and tell and ask engineer, we've been doing it for 4 or 5 years, which, for you and me, that's not that long. That's like a drop in the bucket. But for a lot of these kids, that's a huge amount of time. And, we've met students who, they're like, oh, I saw your show as a kid, and now I'm in high school or college studying engineering. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome that, we've inspired you. And we had one parent who emailed us a few years back, and he said, I've been watching, I'm an engineer, and I'm teaching my daughter about engineering, and she's 6 or 7. And we've been watching your show, and she's so inspired by the guests that you have. I always have female engineers on the show to show off their projects, that the girl actually asked him, Daddy, are there guy engineers too? Are there boy engineers, or are there only women? And I thought that was so cool, because it shows that change what people see engineering is. It's not just, this mythical white lab coat. It's making with your hands. It's being creative. It's costuming. It's wearables. It's hacking your teddy bear, so it tells you when somebody's entered your room. All these projects that are Arduino and Raspberry Pi and open source hardware, has enabled the community to do is astonishing. And I'm like so excited every week to see what people are doing.
So open source hardware is a big part of what you do. All of your designs are given away for free. How's that working for you?
How's it working? Well, it's working really, really well because, we're doubling and tripling the company. I have like 500 or 600 GitHub repos because we have one for every single project. The hardware, the schematics, the CAD layout, the firmware, the software. We even have injection molded parts that we've put up our CAD files on GitHub, or wherever we want to share our files on. Thingiverse is where we share some 3D printed files. And I think we release like 2 or 3 projects a week now, and it's working out really great. We have a community that remixes what we're doing, that's creative, that shares and collaborates. And for us, it's about shipping really fast, really good customer support, really good quality, the manufacturing that we're able to do here. We're not going to just do patents for the sake of having patents. 17 years, it doesn't matter. In 6 months, somebody's come out with something better already. So instead of spending all of our time on lawyers, we spend our time on innovating and providing a great experience for the customer.
But you also spend a lot of time on education. I remember when you first got, I don't know if it was that pick or place machine or an earlier one.
It was a smaller, it was a little pick and place mini one.
I remember you saying, the first thing that you did, you got it and you said, you imported it directly from Japan, if I recall.
Yeah.
And you said the documentation was terrible. And so the first thing you did was to create video tutorials for other people on how to use the machine, how to set it up, and you kind of put that out on the internet. So there's sort of a way that, educating your competitors and growing the market has been in your DNA from the beginning. And in fact, that's turned out to be a pretty successful strategy for you.
Yeah, last year we launched our learning site, which is a custom site basically designed for me to be able to publish tutorials. We have about 900 tutorials that we've published over the last 10 years, covering everything from how to strip wires to how to make your very own cell phone to making a laptop out of a Raspberry Pi. And it's all free, it's all available. You don't have to sign up. There's no courses or you have to purchase anything. It's all there. You don't even have to use Adafruit stuff you don't want. You can build it with anything you can find around the house. And our philosophy is good information is advertising. So instead of paying for ads, we put up these awesome projects and awesome tutorials, and they get picked up. I think you've blogged a couple of them, and they've been definitely posted around and passed around the internet. And that's kind of what makes Adafruit awesome. It's a place where you can go and you can get inspired and you can be creative. And even though we have all this equipment, we're really just a tutorial company. We're an education company with a gift shop at the end. So if you are inspired and you want to learn about electronics, you want to pick up an Arduino and Raspberry Pi, grab something from Adafruit and get going.
That's a super important lesson, I think, for this next economy, that there are multiple ways to monetize, and if you spread your knowledge, if you spread, entertainment, you often actually find different ways to come to that. But I want to bring up something else. Your husband, Phil, who works with you on the media side of the business, once described you to me as an engineer with attitude. And I remember reading a post that you wrote about why you liked a particular brand of resistor that you had kind of gone over to China to source. And I just want to kind of talk about the aesthetic side. A lot of people kind of put sort of the arts over here and engineering over here as though they're different. And you kind of represent kind of this, combination of an artistic sensibility, which even down to the level of, this little tiny component that nobody, most people kind of just look at if they happen to take a device apart, they wouldn't even, know what it was. And you're kind of like, no, I want this particular kind, and those aesthetic decisions, but also at, the kinds of products. I remember when you found those vacuum tubes in Russia somewhere and you went, oh, I can make a cool clock out of these, and that became a product till they were gone because there were only, a few thousand of them left, whatever. You talk about the aesthetics of what you do.
Absolutely. I think that electronics is a form of art. It's a form of design. It's the art form that I've picked to express myself. And what I think is really interesting about this, I want to tie it back to a previous conversation that we had, is there's a lot of people out there who are artists, who are engineers or designers, who are interested in fashion or makeup or jewelry. And I feel like historically the electronics community has sort of pushed those people aside and said, well, you're into fashion, well, we're into ham radio, and then those things don't combine. But I think that, especially now with the maker movement, this is an excellent time to expand who can become an engineer. Say, if you're a fashion designer, and we went to a Zach Posen show a few months ago here at Fashion Week, and Zach Posen had LEDs and microcontrollers in a dress that was like lighting up, and this group of girls from the Bronx were designing code for it, for the Girls Who Code consortium. And I think that's so cool because we're showing people that electronics isn't just sitting at a desk. It's being creative. It's doing something with your hands. It's what you are already interested in. You like to skateboard? Add electronics to your skateboard. You like to make dresses? Add LEDs to your dresses. You like dancing? Make light-up dance costumes. This is what engineering is. It's not just in a book. It's not just in the lab. It's at home. It's what you love to do. And I want to see more engineers.
Does anyone in the audience have any questions for Limor? If so, come to the mics, or if we have any from Twitter, we can put them up on the screen here. But in the meantime, I'm just going to kind of ask you another question sort of related to that. This joy of making, it really involves choices that we make, sort of like not just to be consumers, but to be creators. Mm-hmm. That's open to everybody. Can you talk a little bit about that?
I mean, I think everybody is creative. Everyone likes to build and make. And I think that, nowadays, you see 3-year-olds with iPads. Everybody has solid aluminum electronics, but they don't necessarily understand what's in them. And I think people have that curiosity.
No,
what is in my cell phone? What is in my GPS? And I think that making kind of lets people, you have your tablet, but maybe you can build your own with a Raspberry Pi and understand more and not feel like technology is controlling you, but you have a say in what your technology is and how you use it.
All right, we just have one question over here, and then we're going to have to wrap.
Hi there. I want to thank you for being so engaging. I'm really, really liking this part of this conference, just for what it's worth. Not just because she's a woman on stage.
Can you get to the question, please?
Yeah, of course I can.
We're running out of time.
So how can people help you? Should they be doing what you're doing separately, or should they be, do you think that this is something that needs aggregation of effort or lots of little efforts like yours?
I think that the most powerful thing that you can do as an individual is, you probably have a young person in your life, maybe a young girl, who is interested in science or engineering or math or technology and doesn't have resources or doesn't feel like she can become an engineer. And if you can do a project with her, pick up an Adafruit kit or just check out one of our tutorials, follow along, or look online. There's so many tutorials on the Make blog or other websites, and do that project with them and inspire them. That's the most you can do. That's more important to help one person than to try to think, okay, I'm going to do some gigantic project and maybe it'll affect millions of people. Something you do tomorrow is more powerful.
Thank you so much, Limor. Thanks a lot for joining us here today. Thank you.